The Green Light On Racing and Sport podcast is back. It's been relaunched and we are ready to go for a bit of a new season, I guess we could say. We're here after the Healesville Cup heats in Victoria to chat all things Healesville Cup for next Sunday afternoon. Greyhound racing will be a warm day, 35 degrees, far north Queensland type weather, no doubt. The panel has been cut by around about 33.33%, but as always, when I'm podcasting, my main man Smithy puts his hand up and says, I'm happy to help out. Smithy, welcome to you, my friend, and welcome to the Green Light On Racing and Sport podcast. A little bit different.
A little bit of a rebrand, Jim, but happy to be alongside you. As much as things change, they always stay the same. You and I together on the Green Light On Racing and Sport podcast these days.
That's it, mate. I think it was backed by popular demand. Most people were saying, where has she gone, the podcast? It has to come back. We love it. And the plan is, look, it's only early days. This is the first one we wanted to get into, being my local cup, the Healesville Cup, which is a race that I absolutely love. I love straight racing. You do as well, Smithy. But the plan is for this podcast to go nationwide. So we're expecting to expand outside of the borders of Victoria, if they let me through, to New South Wales, maybe north to Queensland. So it's going to be sort of the Green Light On round the country tour almost, I reckon, for the next 12 months is the plan.
Well, that sounds like a good idea, I reckon, Jim. So hopefully everyone gets on board, because we obviously have plenty of fun doing it, and I think you can bring greyhound racing to plenty of new audiences if you can travel around Australia and hit up the big races.
Yeah, we might even be able to holiday in far north Queensland, speaking of the warm weather. I've even put together a rundown. Now, that generally wouldn't happen. That generally wouldn't happen, but it has this time. But we were supposed to be a three-man show joined by Peter Frost, the newly appointed general manager here of the HGA, and unfortunately he's given us the arse. He said, nah, not going to be a part of it, but it is to an emergency reason. So we let Frosty off on this particular occasion, but I'm loving what he's doing, Peter Frost. This is going to really pump his tyres up and he's going to enjoy this, but he's really brought a new set of eyes to Healesville in particular, in greyhound racing as well. He's not a through and through greyhound racing man, and from what I've noticed, the first sort of event we went to was the Industry Awards night.
Yep.
Hit the sauce really hard with the great man, me a bit harder than he. We got the Hummer back.
We can say that again.
Got the Hummer back. And the one thing I took out of that whole night was he's really creating like a good vibe to come to the Healesville Greyhounds. Not that past managers hadn't, but just doing things differently and really trying to create that community vibe as well. And we see that with this charity Community Cup Challenge that he's doing at the moment as well with Healesville Cup.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, this is one of the benefits of having a new set of eyes, as you said, a person that's probably not stuck in greyhound racing and has been there and done that and seen everything. And it's not, as you said, it's not a knock on previous managers whatsoever. It's just Peter comes in with a fresh set of eyes, fresh set of ideas, and this Community Cup Challenge is one of those. He's managed to get 8 clubs on board, or 8 clubs on board, and he's managed to kind of get them to come along next week and do a little bit of a giveaway, and hopefully this can kind of set a bit of a blueprint for moving forward, because I think that's something that we definitely need to do in greyhound racing as a whole, and I think Peter's doing a fantastic job in his first couple of months in engaging with the local community.
Community Cup Challenge it's called. Yes. I think I called it the Charity Challenge, but that's because the club are going to donate so much cash to these clubs to get them out. But we've got, just going through it quickly, Healesville RSL...
Welfare and Patriotic Fund, so that rolls off the tongue, but they do good stuff. Healesville Probus Club, Woori Yallock Football Netball Club, Bridge Builders Youth Organisation, Lilydale Cricket Club, Montrose Cricket Club, Croydon Homing Pigeon Club.
The Pigeons.
And Healesville Football Netball Club as well. So
could be a loose day, to be honest.
It could be. I'm excited to see it, to be honest. We saw the National Straight Track Championship where everyone came in the room that we're sitting in currently, and it was a good vibe and good atmosphere. We've seen it at the Emerald previously as well. So hopefully everyone comes on board and has a good fun day.
And I'm just looking at a few of these names. Lilydale Cricket Club, I think there's a couple of loose units down there. The Montrose Cricket Club, I'm assigned with a few people that sort of call Montrose home, and I'll tell you what, they will tear this place a new one on Cup Day. So
I'm excited to see it, Jim, and to be honest, after the duties are fulfilled, I might come and join it.
Run of the day. All right, here we go. That's the new stingers. You didn't seem overly impressed by that straight off the top, Smithy?
No, well, you said to me that I might get you to try and voice a couple of them for me, Smithy, and I thought, well, this is a bit of me time, and I thought I could get around that, but you've stuck with your own work, which I don't mind, Jim. It's good, a little bit of change in the new podcast, new stingers. Yep. I like it.
Yeah, look, once you lower the cost that you put on the invoice, I might get you to voice over a few, but we're going to go with run of the day. Who did you rate as run of the day? You've been at Healesville all day through the program. What did you think was the standout?
Quinlan Bale for me. I thought he was really impressive. He's obviously the fastest qualifier from box number 1. We'll talk about it a little bit later on, but he comes up with box number 8. But I think that suits him as well. So the big boy, Farlap, as he's known, he just loves this straight, and he comes around here every sort of festival of racing and gets the job done. So he faces some stiff opposition, but I'm excited to see him straight his stuff.
Did you see the satisfactory trials after last?
Yeah, I did, Jim.
My old man put one around.
Yeah,
I might be run of the day, Smithy.
Okay.
16:57 from Daytona. It's a decent little run. Might be one for next week, next Sunday afternoon. We'll keep an eye on that. I reckon my run of the day was Unleash Kalinda.
Yeah.
The way he had to duck and weave. And I know I've been on the forefront saying he's vulnerable. And look, his time probably proves that he is vulnerable, even though he was so good today and he was able to find a way. I feel he is still vulnerable, but he is an absolute superstar of the sport.
He certainly is. I've obviously not jumped off the bandwagon, and I've been happy to let you know that, Jim, but he's an absolute rocket. He's a straight track, not even a straight track specialist, I was about to say that, but he's obviously a track record holder around the circle as well. So he's a very, very fast dog. He just loves the straight, and he can get a few things wrong. There's a few little issues from time to time, but he just finds ways to win.
Inside info. All right, Luke Thompson here after taking out a heat of the Cup with Unleash Kalinda, one of the superstars of the sport. Mate, you must be thrilled to make it through to the Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. Given what happened last year, being the first time he actually got beat was in the Healesville Cup last year, so good to be back, and hopefully we can redeem ourselves.
It was a bit of a bumpy ride early, found a lot of trouble, so it must have been nice to see him just burst clear at halfway.
Yeah, it was. He missed the start. He was one of the last ones out and found a bit of bother trying to get to the middle part of the track, carting Valhalla up the track, and then having to deal with the 7 dog that come across and showed a bit of speed. But once he gets that clear air, he just takes off, and he was too good in the end. I've
been saying he's a bit vulnerable lately. Obviously not vulnerable, eh?
No, we had a few issues there for a couple of weeks when maybe yesterday knocked us off, but we've got over that. His weight's been up. He's been perfect. So just need to get a box and get the start right next week, hopefully. Speaking
of that, we are recording this straight on the back of him taking out his heat of the Cup. Where would you love Unleash Kalinda to draw if he is going to take out the final next week?
If I had to take a box, it would be box 8, just so he could get that clear room straight from box rise, get out in that open air. But ultimately in these big races, it's a matter of what's drawn around you. It'd be no good if he has box 8 with a wide runner inside him and he doesn't get that room. Conversely, if he gets box 1 with a railer directly drawn outside, you might not get into the race. So that's what it comes down to at the end of the day, is the dog's drawn around you.
You know one thing, he's going to give it his all. Congratulations on making the Healesville Cup with the, I guess, undisputed to an extent. Maybe yesterday's pushing for it, but undisputed king of straight track greyhound racing. Well done.
We'll find out next week who is the undisputed king.
Beck, 2 qualifiers into the Healesville Cup. You have to be happy about that. Quinlan Bale setting the time standard. We'll start with him, 18.99 in the first heat. That was nice.
Yeah, very nice. He once he drew the red, I knew that if he got a clear run, he would run some good time. And he did just that.
He went the quickest. He was drawn nicely, as you said, from box number 1. We're recording this prior to the draw taking place Sunday afternoon. Do you want the red again?
Absolutely.
Would be nice for him. And he's taken to straight racing. He started last year. He won the state final of the straight track. So he loves straight racing, Quinlan Bale.
He does. Yeah, he just adapts well to both. And he hadn't ran up the straight since last year.
Yeah.
So it was really, I had to bring him here a bit earlier just to get back into the straight racing and get him fit and ready and kind of know what he's doing. But he still tries to look for the rails. So
does it surprise you at all he went quicker than maybe yesterday in Unleash Kalinda? I know he split them a couple of weeks ago here, but to put a faster time on the board than both of them must be pleasing.
Yeah, definitely. And being the first of the heats, I thought he might be a little bit slower and then the track would get a little bit better through the day. But obviously, I'm real happy and stoked with that time. So
you've got one through, and then Nicholson Bale runs an absolutely cracking second placing. I think he would have won half the heats time-wise. He went about 19.11, so that must be nice too.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been running a little bit shorter over the 300s. Last few weeks in setup for this. So hopefully he'll be better for the run next week over the 350.
Let's say you're drawing the box draw. Quinlan Bale 1, Nicholson Bale 8. Is that what we go with?
Yeah, that would be great.
Well,
we'll see. Fingers crossed, but hopefully they're not right next to each other, because we do call them the Bash Brothers, and they'll probably get a bit of hip and shouldering. Yeah,
we can't give an insight as to why the big boss Danny Gibbons isn't here today. Are we keeping that on the down low? Or?
Yeah, it's on the DL.
On the down low. All right, good on you, Bet. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Andrea, gun-eye bowled into the Healesville Cup. You must be thrilled with his run. He had to work to the outside, but he got the job done.
Yeah, he certainly did. He did it the hard way, but he's managed to hold on and do it, which is great.
It was a really good quality win. Were you watching? I think you're watching down on the fence. Were you worried that he wasn't going to get the job done at halfway because he gave them a head start?
Oh, he didn't jump like he would normally do, and he's got into a little bit of trouble, pushed himself out wide, and tried to come in, and still had to stay out there. So he's done it the hard way.
Has he always been a super fast dog? Because his win today sort of showed that he's got a massive motor. Has he always been that dog?
He's always shown us from day one since we've had him, Johnny Martin's dog. He's shown us something all the way. He's been quick out, but he's also been a little bit trying at times too.
And what about Healesville? He seems to like it here. He went through the Emerald Series a couple of months ago, earlier in the year, and he raced well through that.
Yeah, he prefers here to what his brother does. His brother doesn't like here, but he's quite good here. He doesn't mind going up the straight. He powers up the straight at home too.
Well, it says here, trained by Johnny Barbara, but they're telling me inside info, it's actually trained by Andrea Chapple. Is that right?
At the moment, yes. At the moment, it's a good team at home at the moment, so good to everybody down there. Everybody's working hard. So
what's the ideal draw for next week? Where does he need to start from to win it?
Probably anywhere in the middle. Not close, not box one. Anything but box one.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Hopefully he can draw box 6 and it can be a repeat of what he did this afternoon. Congrats on making the Healesville Cup with Gun-Eye Bowled.
Thank you.
Gus Selkrig, a runner into the Healesville Cup, mate. You're part of the furniture up here at Healesville, so that must be thrilling.
I'm wrapped, mate. I'm just wrapped to be in it, you know. Make the final, I'm just wrapped.
Tell me where the name Gus came from, because everybody calls you Gus, but when I look in the form guide, it says Garry Selkrig. I'm a little confused.
It was Garry the Goose, so then they changed it to Gus the Goose.
Oh, well, I might just go with Goose Selkrig from now on.
That's all right.
Hey, you tell me, this boy's underrated, isn't he?
Very much so, very much so. No, he's a smart dog at Healesville. He loves Healesville and loves all tracks, actually, but he's had some injury problems, shoulders and wrists, but he's okay at the moment and hope he's okay next week.
Well, mate, he's going beautifully.
Box 5 will be great for him. I reckon straight down the middle, split the pack and he'll go straight.
Well, that's the plan. Now, you're the first trainer that we spoke to post-box draw, so you say 5. You're actually pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Even though you probably would have preferred 1 or 2. He's a greyhound that can win.
To make the final. Doesn't matter the draw, I don't think.
You've had some success in good races up the straight. You trained Peter Gallo a few moons ago, mate. Peter. What a star he was.
He's still going, Peter.
How old now?
5 or 6? No, he'd be
older.
6. Might be 7. He's on 1,000 acres at Oyen, and he's having a great life up there. He's got his own lake where he goes swimming and all that. And
living the dream.
Can't say what else he does up there, but
he's living the dream.
He's having a ball.
Nah, that's what you want, mate. He's living the dream. Well, good luck next week, drawing box number 5 with Deadly Rookie, and hopefully, mate, as a local trainer, you can run an absolute cracker next Sunday afternoon.
All I've ever been after is a Healesville Cup, so maybe a bit of luck this year because I haven't had any luck in them yet.
Big race preview. Oh, there we go. Big race preview, Smithy. That was good, wasn't it?
I like that one. That's my favourite one so far.
Up and about. There's nothing to match the Punters Punting Club, put it that way. But big race preview. You've got the box draw there. Rip that through, and then we'll go through runner by runner as well.
Yeah, Gun-Eye Bowled from box number 1. Cybertruck from 2. Unleash Kalinda from 3. Nicholson Bale from 4. Deadly Rookie from 5. That's Ivy's from 6. Maybe Yesterday from 7. Quinlan Bale from 8. And the 2 reserves, Valhalla and Oscar Moses.
All right, let's go through them runner by runner. Gun-Eye Bowled. I think the draw does not suit. He sort of proved that today, jumping from box 6, wanted to get off the track. His run was really good to win. It's so rare to see them 5 wide. Even though it's a straight track, it's hard to win when you're stuck on the outside of runners. But then in saying that that's where he wants to be, I don't think the Redsies go. Smithy, do you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Jim. There's probably a few of these that are drawn a little bit upside down, and Gun-Eye Bold's one of those. And, you've got to be in it to win the race. So you're never going to complain with any of the sort of boxes that you get in these big races, but I think it's going to be difficult from box 1.
Draws are everything, and Cybertruck goes into box number 2, another wide runner, throws another spanner to the works. I think this greyhound's underrated for Matty Johnson. He's done a terrific job placing him to win so many races and keep a great strike rate.
Just consistently runs your 1910, 1915 sort of thing and doesn't do a huge amount wrong. As he said, does like to get off the track a little bit, but you've got to be in it, and I think Cybertruck's going to be a really, really cheeky, sort of smoky for an each-way play.
Especially underneath Unleashed Kalinda, who we get to now, drawn box number 3. He's not going to want the rail Unleashed Kalinda, so he's going to give Cybertruck room, but he deserves to win it, if any greyhound does.
He certainly does. I heard you call earlier today where you said maybe he can stamp his authority as the best straight track racing dog that we've ever seen. If he wins this Healesville Cup. He's in the conversation now. He's a dual track record holder, won plenty of big races here, but if he can stamp his authority in the Healesville Cup next week, I don't think there's any argument to be had.
So Nicholson Vale in box number 4 there, Smithy, qualifies with a runners-up effort today and went 19.11, so would have won effectively half the heats.
Yeah, very, very fast. And probably a little bit underrated up the straight. And
Quinlan Bale's shadow.
Yeah, exactly right. The Bash Brothers, as the Gibbons like to call them. I think he's probably one of the more underrated ones and could run a cheeky race from box number 4.
We're still trying to get to the bottom of why Danny Gibbons wasn't at the Healesville Greys on Sunday afternoon racing his greyhounds in the Cup heats. On to box number 5, which is Deadly Rookie. Garry Selkrig sort of came to me straight after the race, and we heard that in the chat just a moment ago, that he reckons he's underrated. And I think that does, I agree, and I think that shows the opinion he has of the dog as well, because I think we rate him as a very, very good straight tracker, but maybe we don't speak of him in the same sentence as an Unleashed Kalinda as it maybe yesterday. And when you go through his stats, he almost does deserve to be in that sentence.
He does, Jim. And we had a conversation on SEN the other night where we went through all the heats and we kind of raised the greyhounds that we thought. And if I had said to you that night, who are the 3 best straight track dogs that we've got at the moment, you're probably saying Unleashed Kalinda, maybe yesterday, maybe Quinlan Bale at this stage.
Yep.
He probably doesn't get the credits he deserves, but Gus Selkrig, he's trained probably more winners than anyone else up the straight over the last probably 10, 15, 20 years, and he certainly is a little bit underrated.
Yeah, 100%. Number 6, that's Ivy's good finishing burst along the rail. It was almost as if this greyhound knew needed to cut the margin back a little bit. Like it was like the swimming when you see that line of the record, and that was the Healesville Cup line just drawing away, and then that's Ivy's was able to hunt through and arrive in the final. So the draw is a challenge. I don't think has the class of a few of the others, but as they say in the books, in the stories, in the movies, what is it? You have to be in it to win it.
You have to be in it to win it.
Almost forgot what I was going to say.
It was a big lead up to then forgetting what you were trying to say. That's Ivy's. I think it's going to find it a little bit tough. It obviously got in by 0.003 over Valhalla. It was that close. So it was unbelievable. Bit flattening for Tommy Savalas with Valhalla, but that's Ivy's deserves its spot. That's the way that you've got to get into the race, and it did that. But from box number 6 against this calibre of field, I think it's going to be a little bit difficult.
Is it maybe next Sunday for maybe yesterday?
Well, I know you've been pushing the case for a long time.
I don't like the draw.
And I'm a big fan of the dog as well. And we spoke about Unleashed Kalinda maybe being the best straight track dog we've seen. Maybe yesterday's in the conversation as well. He's just, at the moment, probably in the bigger races, has been Hayless to the Black Caviar that is Unleashed Kalinda. So he would not shock me one iota if he came out and won. But as you said, box number 7 makes it a little bit more difficult, but he's certainly in my first couple of selections.
And Quinlan Bale, I think he comes right into the contention because he's going to get room.
Yep.
The 7's going to look for the inside running rail, maybe yesterday, and drawn the pink. Look, you probably would have preferred him in 1, but I think Quinlan Bale's a dog who can do it from anywhere, and he needs just a stride or 2 to hit his straps. He jumps, and we've seen it. I reckon he was in a Melbourne Cup heater last year when he jumped and was sort of crowded up a little bit, but then just went bang. And he has got that breathtaking speed when he hits the ground, and he's probably the only greyhound that you look at in this field and can almost guarantee when the lid's open, the first 5 or 6 strides are going to be untouched.
Yeah, exactly right. And I was speaking to Beck Gibbons prior to your interview with her, and she said, just give me 1 and 8. I'd love 1 and 8. So she gets 8 with Quinlan Bale, and I think that suits him down to the ground. Whether he can run the times, I know he's the fastest qualifier, but whether he can run those 18.8s that maybe yesterday and Unleashed Kalinda can next Sunday, whether he can do it or not, that's the question mark. But he is a very fast dog. He's the fastest qualifier from today. He's in form. He's got a good box. He ticks plenty of boxes.
Reserves?
Valhalla and Oscar Moses, I think
Interstate
both of them,
Raiders.
Exactly right. I think both of them, if they got to run nice and early in the week so that the trainers can plan and make sure they're ready and absolutely cherry ripe for Sunday, I think they could run a really good race. So I think Valhalla was is probably improving into his work. I know he missed out by 0.003, which is absolutely devastating. But Oscar Moses was a little bit plainer today, I'd say. I don't think he
missed the kick and he
probably wasn't as good as what we've seen, but both of them are very good straight trackers, and the more looks you get at Healesville, we know the better you are.
Well, it's funny that, because you say the more looks, but it feels like almost their first look was their best look.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Valhalla went 19.15 or so, and
word
Oscar
on the
Moses
street is
was good as well.
19.05, Oscar Moses' first look, a roundabout, which is absolutely airborne. But yeah, look, it's interesting, and as you said, Si, we had maybe yesterday, obviously drawing box number 7. Does he create the space for Quinlan Bale? I think it's going to be a really intriguing final. Unleashed Kalinda's probably going to run favourite, do you think, at this point in time?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a deserved favourite. We've seen in the races in previous weeks where he got the drifts later, a little bit closer to jump, and dogs like maybe yesterday have been backed in. So the market will be very interesting, but I think Unleashed Kalinda's probably a deserved favourite at this point.
The Punters Club. A little bit boring, that one. The Punters Club. Keeping it very, very simple. Chances are you're going to lose. Call Gamblers Help 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au for free confidential support. The Punters Punting Club, as we used to call it, which is now just the Punting Club. What are we doing?
Simplified, Jim.
What are we doing? Is that what we're up to? I did a rundown, so I'm not really following it, but is that what we're up to?
You've given me the rundown and you're hosting the show. I don't know if
what's going on here,
we're a little bit backwards here, but no, we are up to the Punters Club, and I think you just got to be, obviously we're doing this without seeing prices. I think if you're getting, say, 220, 230 about Unleashed Kalinda, I think that's the way that I'll be playing. But I know you're a big fan of the same race multi, and I think you could have Quinlan Bale top 4, Unleashed Kalinda top 2. I reckon that is the way for me to play. If you can get around, say, even money or a little bit more, then I'll be very keen.
I'm tempted to get personalised number plates on my car, SRM. Like I do.
SRM Jim.
I love the same race multis, but I don't like them when the speed map and the way the dogs are going to run is a little bit upside down. So for me, it's not a same race multi, the Healesville Cup, just because 1, 2 and 3 potentially want off. So I like it where you've got the 3 getting off and then you take the 1 and 2 to both run top 4 or something like that. But I tell you what, I'm torn, because Steph and Sam Tyler, I reckon if I said to them, I'll invoice you 100 to go against Unleashed Kalinda, they'd pay it.
They would pay it in a heartbeat, I reckon, Jim.
But I am so tempted to tip him, and I've just got them in the back of my mind sitting there. I could just imagine them saying, Jimmy, please don't tip. He's vulnerable. You don't want a bar of him. So because of that, Steph and Sam Tyler, I am going to tip... am I? I'm going to go with Quinlan Bale.
Quinlan. He should be an each-way price too.
He should be, and to be honest, he has not set a paw out of place up the straight. He won the state final of the National Straight Track Championship last year, went to Richmond. I don't think they had a chance to trial there, so you have to put a line through that. It doesn't really matter anyway what he did at Richmond, because this is at Healesville. But yeah, I think he's a superstar, and I think he's the one greyhound that is going to get a bit of clean room. When the 7 steps to the rail, I can see space opening, and honestly, the last... look, we said Oscar Moses, maybe he was a little bit disappointing, but maybe... early in the morning, when it wasn't as warm as what it turned out to be in the afternoon, when conditions are then conducive to quick times, he put the time on the board, the writing on the wall early in the day. Race number 2 it was, heat number 1, broke 19 seconds. Maybe we're delving into it a little bit too much, and he's the dog to beat. Well,
he's got the perfect draw. He's the fastest qualifier. You look at those 2 factors and you kind of seem like an idiot if you're going to tip anything else. But I am backing in Unleashed Kalinda, but I think Quinlan Bale is the one that's going to run a really good race. As we said, best draw in the race.
Yeah, it might be $4 or $5 as well. Racing news. Well, there it is, Smithy. You said before that was one of your favourite jingles. It doesn't get any better than that. That sounded like National 9 News at Healesville, didn't it?
Unbelievable, Jim. You'll be leaving me and being a news reporter in no time.
I don't know about that. But anyway, this segment is sort of like real/fake news. And what I'm getting at, I'm going to bring up a talking point on this podcast, and I'm going to find out if you think it's real news or fake news, and what your opinion is. First up, and only one we're going to do today, is Unleashed Kalinda is now standing at stud, as well as racing. There's straws available for the breeders out there. My question to you is, will Unleashed Kalinda make it at stud? That's the news article. Is it a yes or is it a no?
My gut feel is he's going to find it hard just because he's a short course dog. Traditionally, they're going to...
Mr. Serious
here. They're going to be a little bit harder to kind of market, but I really do believe that if this greyhound's given a crack, then he's going to be unbelievable. I just got up the litter that he's from.
Extraordinary.
Just just prior to us throwing to this, and you've got Mr. Audacious, who obviously had his issues but was as fast as any dog we've seen. Modern Kalinda Chips, just to name a couple that are very fast animals in their own right. But this dog's a 3-time track record holder, 2 times up the straight, 1 time around the circle, chases through a brick wall. He's got all the attributes. Probably the only thing that would be the knocker is the fact that he's a short course dog versus a 500-metre dog, which are the more traditional marketable size. But I would love for this boy to get a proper crack at stud, because I think if given a crack, then he's going to make it.
I think he could, and I think the one knock on him early days was he only had straight track form, and you hit the nail on the head. He's performed well on a circle. He owns the Geelong track record at a track where some of the Grand Seniors and that have gone around over the 400 metres in years gone by. So I think he's done enough on the circle to warrant a stud career. Even if he hadn't raced on the circle, to be honest, I'd almost be using him at stud just off his straight form, because they don't come any faster, and there's been times where he's ran 960s home here at Healesville, which you just cannot run. Like, it's physically impossible, yet he does it.
And he probably wins a Ballarat Cup if it wasn't for the run of the year, the literal run of the year from Kelsey Bale that was named at the recent GCA Awards night. It was the run of the year for all of Australia, Australasia as well. Kelsey Bale beat him in what was the most freakish run I've ever seen. And without that, he's a Group 2 winner around the circle as well, and you're probably not even having this conversation. It's just a no-brainer.
I was going to say, what are his stats overall now? Like, he's predominantly raced up the straight. He's had 52 starts, 34 wins, and $250,000 in the bank. So if you could breed to him and end up with even half as good as Unleashed Kalinda, you're going to be more than happy. Well, what's the end result? Oh, Smith, you only ripped your headset off, but
did. Just a bit
sideways
of
action. What do you reckon?
I hope he works.
Yes or no?
Yes, I think he does work, and mainly because Steph and Sam Tyler, everything that they've touched over the last probably 5 years has turned to gold.
Do you know they had a silver car?
Did they?
They walked outside, and Steph and Sam both put a finger on each door, and it turned to gold.
Of course it did. That is the worst joke I've ever heard. That might get us off air after the first ep of the rebranded one. But Steph and Sam Tyler have done a fantastic job breeding over the last few years. You've got the Thompsons, who stand Bernardo at stud, who's been a massive success. They're going to stand Unleashed Kalinda as well. Apparently, they've got the Unleashed Kalinda at stud Facebook page too, which you should go and give a follow to. So I really hope he makes it. I think he can make it, and I think there'll be the right support early, and once the litters come on the ground, I think he'll take off.
I agree. I'm with Unleashed Kalinda to make it at stud. He's been a favourite of mine, even though lately I've sort of jumped off ship, and I tell you what, I've copped a little bit for that. But I think he can make it. As we wrap up this first edition of the Green Light On Racing and Sport podcast, just wanted to say Frosty left us. There was meant to be a 3-man show. I went out yesterday and bought him a separate $369 microphone just for the great man Peter Frost. I wanted to impress him, and then he disappears at about race 12, and we have to go.
There's 2 ways that you would have paid for that. You would have opened the wallet, and the moths would have hit the cashier in the face, or you would have just shaken that out of the change drawer in one of your 3 Mercedes.
No, it was on the business account to make sure. Yes, you got to have a business account and make sure we're not paying too much tax, Smithy. Well, that wraps up this first edition of the Green Light On Racing and Sport podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you get around Healesville next Sunday. It's going to be huge. You're going to have to park a kilometre away. Dead set. There is going to be so many people here, so much atmosphere at the Healesville Greys. So stick around for that next Sunday. Until next time, safe travelling and happy punting. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.